I think for most of my life, I have had a, well, why not kind of attitude. And like, there may be legitimate reasons why not, but like, okay, but why not? Like, let's just imagine, like, if we really wanted to make this happen, what would we have to do? And does that sound possible? And could we just try? Hey, I'm Chloe Angyal, and you're entering A World Gone Good.
Well, hello, my name's Steve, and this is the place where we shine the light on everyday people making good happen each and every day. Welcome to World Gone Good. Hey, who wants to give us our 100th rating and review on Apple Podcasts? We are at 99. Go there and be number 100. Do it right now. Give us a quick rating in short or long. I'm not the boss of you. Review. Every time you do, you help more people find this here good show. And for that, as always, we say thank you. Okay, so hello to you, good person. This is our first episode back from our well-deserved spring break, and spring certainly did sprung here in London. We had 2 days in a row of bright blue skies, and the sun was out, it was shining, I didn't need a coat to venture outside in, and then on the third day, London spring said psych, and it dropped down right back into scarf and gloves weather. Ah, well, we'll be begging for cooler weather soon enough, I am sure. As you may know, we pick a slogan each new year, and our 2026 slogan is, say yes. So what are you saying yes to right now? The thing about saying yes is there's a little bit, or a whole lot of it, of positive manifestation. You're opening the door to possibility. And sometimes that door will even open on its own. 15 years ago in 2011, then 19-year-old Zach Wahls stood up in front of the Iowa House of Representatives during a public forum. Here's a clip of what he had to say on that day.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Zach Wahls. I'm a sixth-generation Iowan and an engineering student at the University of Iowa, and I was raised by 2 women. My biological mom, Terry, told her grandparents that she was pregnant, that the artificial insemination had worked, and they wouldn't even acknowledge it. It actually wasn't until I was born and they succumbed to my infantile cuteness that they broke down and told her that they were thrilled to have another grandson. Unfortunately, neither of them lived to see her marry her partner, Jackie, of 15 years when they wedded in 2009. My younger sister and only sibling was born in 1994. We actually have the same anonymous donor, so we're full siblings, which is really cool for me. And I guess the point is that our family really isn't so different from any other Iowa family. When I'm home, we go to church together, we eat dinner, we go on vacations. But we have our hard times too, we get in fights. Actually, my mom, Terry, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2000. It is a devastating disease that put her in a wheelchair, so we've had our struggles. But, we're Iowans. We don't expect anyone to solve our problems for us. We'll fight our own battles. We just hope for equal and fair treatment from our government. My family really isn't so different from yours. After all, your family doesn't derive its sense of worth from being told by the state, you're married, congratulations. No. The sense of family comes from the commitment we make to each other, to work through the hard times so we can enjoy the good ones. It comes from the love that binds us. That's what makes a family. So what you're voting here isn't to change us. It's not to change our families. It's to change how the law views us, how the law treats us. You are voting for the first time in the history of our state to codify discrimination into our Constitution, a Constitution that, but for the proposed amendment, is the least amended Constitution in the United States of America. You are telling Iowans that some among you are second-class citizens who do not have the right to marry the person you love. So will this vote affect my family? Would it affect yours? Over the next 2 hours, I'm sure we're going to hear plenty of testimony about how damaging having gay parents is on kids. But in my 19 years, not once have I ever been confronted by an individual who realized independently that I was raised by a gay couple. And you know why? because the sexual orientation of my parents has had zero effect on the content of my character. Thank you very much.
Zach's words resonated around the world, racking up millions of views, including one viewer in particular, Chloe Angyal, who, after seeing it, put out a blog post entitled, "Marry Me, Zach Wahls." And that door to possibility I spoke of just a bit ago, you know, the one that I said would open up, it opened up. Spoiler alert, he said yes, or rather, she said, they both said yes. That's what the spoiler is. And in turn, we hoped she would say yes after our producer, Lisa, sent me this video.
In February 2011, I was 23 years old, living in New York City, and I was blogging for a feminist website called feministing.com. And I saw this viral video of this 19-year-old kid in Iowa.
My name is Zach Wahls.
Standing up on the floor of the House of Representatives.
I'm a sixth-generation Iowan and an engineering student at the University of Iowa.
Talking about his 2 months.
And I was raised by two women.
I don't know who helped him pick his tie.
Your family doesn't derive its sense of worth from being told
But they did a terrible job.
by the state, you're married. Congratulations.
This kid is doing something great and isn't standing up for equal rights. Like, so attractive. So admirable. He's cute.
And this, right now, is their good story told to us from Miss Chloe Angyal herself. So, my producer, Lisa, sends me this video. And I go get this person. And she loves a challenge. And the next thing I know is I get an email saying, I think I got her. So that is why you are here, Chloe Angyal. Welcome to World Gone Good. You can thank Lisa. This is what I'm saying.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Steve. It's great to be here.
You are from Australia, but you, as from Australia through Iowa?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Sydney, Australia, and I've lived in Iowa for the last 7.5 years. I'm an Iowan by choice, and there's a long story of how I came to live in Iowa, but the short version is I fell in love with a really great Iowan, and he's very convincing, and so here I am.
Here you are. And I've been to Australia because I watched The Biggest Loser, and they took them to Australia, to Sydney, Australia, to climb the Sydney Bridge. I told my then boyfriend, who's now my husband, hey, let's go to Australia and climb the Sydney Bridge. So we get there, and we put on all the equipment, and we click in, you link in, right? And you go up there, and as we're stepping out to climb over the Sydney Bridge, he turns to me and says, I'm afraid of heights.
Okay, so what listeners might not know is that there's like a 3-hour training and orientation before they actually get you up on the bridge. So he had many, many opportunities to be like, hey, quick thing.
You're right. And here's the thing. He because there's a video you watch.
You sign many, many, many forms so that you can't sue them.
That's right. and they warn you there might be a proposal, so you might be stuck up here, which did happen. And y'all were having Australian Idol finale at that point, and we got up there and the fireworks went off right by us, which I enjoyed every minute of, and I wish you could have seen the terror expression on his face as it turned purple and orange and green. Have you ever had the pleasure of making that trek over the bridge?
I have. I did it when I was 12. I did it shortly after it became available. Right back when they started opening it to climbers, which I'm sure they've been trying to do for many decades. Yeah, I did it when I was a kid. It's a once and never again kind of thing for me. Like, I'm not afraid of heights, but I also don't need to strap myself to a giant piece of infrastructure hundreds of meters in the air and go for a climb. What I tell people when they visit Sydney is that there are ways to experience, Sydney is built around this beautiful, beautiful harbor, and there are ways to experience it that are suitable for people who are afraid of heights, for people who would rather be in the water, on the water, people who can't swim, people who can. Like, there are lots of ways to experience the harbor that don't involve the last minute revelation of deep-seated phobias.
This comes down to communication,
Mm-hmm.
which is a perfect transition to getting into your life story, because your life story has a lot to do with communication.
That's true. That's true. I'm a longtime journalist turned romance author, and so using words to communicate is kind of my thing. And I also, the aforementioned Iowan that I fell in love with, I first came to know because he gave a really, really powerful speech. So yeah, communication's kind of our thing, she said eloquently.
True or false? A little true or false. Did you really buy yourself a diamond ring? Did you marry yourself, as you wrote in Marie Claire in 2015?
Well, I didn't write that headline, but yes, I went in half with my parents on that ring. Grad students not really known for being able to afford diamond jewelry by themselves. So it was half gift from my parents and half gift to myself. And yeah, until I was engaged to Zach, I wore it on my left ring finger. The reason being, at the time, my relationship with my doctoral thesis was the longest and most challenging relationship I'd had up until that point. And, I was changing my name. I was becoming Dr. Angyal. And so I thought, a lot of women around me are having these long, intense relationships and changing their names and getting a piece of jewelry. So why not me?
Yes, and you got a PhD in ...
in media studies, and my dissertation was about romantic comedies.
You have a doctorate in chick flicks.
I do. Dr. Chick Flick.
Amazing.
Yeah. Look, writing it is like doing a PhD is incredibly difficult, and I think it takes you gotta want to get up and work on it in the morning. And so when I found a topic that I was actually really excited about and could see myself spending months and months and years working on, I decided, yep, some people will probably, find this silly, find this amusing, but I know I'm going to find it enjoyable. And I also know that, this is the only genre of movie that is made for and about women. We should take it seriously. We should ask really serious questions about what messages are these movies conveying to people. If this is the only genre we get, we got to make it good, and we have to take it seriously.
So the question becomes, what is the best rom-com of all time?
I don't think I can answer that. I can tell you what my favorite rom-com is, but I can't tell you what the best one is.
Okay, what's your favorite?
Well, what's your favorite?
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. It's not easy, right?
It is not easy, but I would go way back to something like The Philadelphia Story or What's Up, Doc with Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal.
Bringing Up Baby, also excellent.
Bringing Up Baby, excellent. But probably When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And you?
It's so good. It's so good. Long before Chris Evans was wearing that white sweater in Knives Out, Billy Crystal was doing it. That iconic white sweater with the jeans and the white trainers. Amazing. My favorite is Notting Hill.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Not because, parts of it don't hold up particularly well. Parts of it really, really do. What it has to say about celebrity culture and about invasive press practices, really great. But I love a celebrity normal person romance. I love that in romance novels as well. But I feel like everyone involved in making that movie showed up and did their best work. And down to the soundtrack. The script is great. Hugh Grant's hair has never been floppier. Julia Roberts' smile has never been toothier. Everyone, a gaggle of eccentric British friends has never been more eccentric. Everyone just showed up and did a great job, down to the short little cameo appearances where Hugh Grant is like pretending to be a member of the entertainment press and is like interviewing actors at a press junket. Like it is a great movie. And that there's a long sequence where a year goes by, the seasons change, and Bill Withers' Ain't No Sunshine is playing. Like that sequence has been imitated so many times, but that was the first time I think most people ever saw it in a rom-com, and it's just flawless.
I have two things to say to this. One is I feel like right now I should be saying, I'm just a boy with a podcast asking you to download me. But that's just one thing, right? If you see the movie, you'll get it. Two is I live in Bayswater. I can walk to Notting Hill. It's a mile. So yeah, I have walked by it. I've gone to that bookstore. I've tried to get my own self-published books in that bookstore, and they've yet to call me back. But we're going to keep trying. That's how it works.
Well, is it a travel books? Do you write travel books? Because it's a travel bookstore.
I know it is. Well, in the movie it is. In real life, it's a little bit of everything.
Every time I sign a book, I think of that line where she says, "Oh, signed by the author, I see," and he says, "Yeah, we couldn't stop him. If you can find an unsigned copy, it's worth an absolute fortune." It's just a great script.
Okay, so you're a doctorate of rom-coms, you are living your life, and you see a video with a 19-year-old man named Zach Wahls. He stands up before Iowa's House Judiciary Committee. He's in opposition to a proposed amendment banning same-sex marriage. And your takeaway from watching him is you didn't like his tie.
Oh, that wasn't my first takeaway. My first takeaway was, this guy's cute, and it's really attractive when people stand up for what's right.
Yeah. Well, enough so that you moved on to writing an article saying, "Marry me, Zach Wahls."
Yep, that was the headline that I chose on a fateful day in 2011. Not realizing that that blog post would change my life. For the listeners at home, Zach Wahls is now my husband. Our son turns 2 in a couple of weeks.
We can just wrap up the show right now. Let's go back.
A couple of intermediate steps that we might need to cover, but yeah, 1, 2, 3, real simple.
All right, let's go back to what I was talking about for a second here, really quick, to clarify. You did have an issue, though. I saw the tie myself that he chose.
Mm-hmm.
The good news is he proved right away that he was a straight man, which is a good thing for you, right? With that tie.
I wouldn't possibly want to indulge in stereotypes about the styling choices.
Oh, I will. Go right and up, kid. Go ahead. But that was a little bit of something that I saw you remark on one time, which is why I brought it up.
I give him a hard time about it now. It wasn't the thing that jumped out to me the most. I mean, I stand by my assessment. It's not a good tie. But also, it was 2011 and he was 19 years old. So, we'll give him a break. And crucially, he has learned how to pick a decent tie in the intervening 15 years.
But what prompted you to write the post?
I was blogging at that time for the feminist website where I wrote it, feministing.com. And I was like on duty that day. So I had to write 3 blog posts. 2 shifts a day. The morning person writes 3, the afternoon person writes 3. And that video had gone like mega, mega viral the previous day. It was everywhere. And, 3 blog posts in a morning is a pretty tall order. And one of the easier ways to squeeze out a blog post is to find a viral video, write it up, a couple of quick paragraphs, do a transcript, slap a ridiculous headline on it in my case. And that's what I did. And yeah, I mentioned in the blog post, like a couple of us at the website thought he was cute and that advocating for civil rights is admirable. And then I took it one step further with the headline, and he emailed me the next day.
That's insane that he saw it that quickly.
I think someone probably sent it to him. I'm not sure if he saw it organically. Someone sent it to him like, "Ha, isn't this funny? This random woman in New York wants to marry you. Wouldn't that be ridiculous?" Again, I just finished a load of toddler laundry for his son.
I think I like prefer to go with the idea that he was just like online, like refresh. What are people saying? Refresh. And then he was like, oh, who's this young lady in New York City who seems to, oh, a marriage proposal. This is interesting. So the next day he emails you and you get this email. How and what was your response?
Well, the subject line of the email, which I still have, is marriage proposal, question mark. He was aware of the website because our editors had come to his college campus the previous year, and I think he had gone to their talk, so he was sort of aware of us. And he said, fan of the website, and I think he'd figured out that I ran the interview series at the website. And so he said, if you want to interview me, I'd be happy to, do a sit down. He gave me his phone number. And yeah, that's how he slid into my DMs and gave me his phone number.
Wow. And what was your response? Were you, well, because here's the thing, I'm a writer myself and I put things out there and you're like, somebody responds and you're like, it can be very good or it can be very bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it could, sometimes it seems like it's going to be really good. And then they come at you and you're like, oh, this isn't so good after all. Did you have any nerves about it? Were you like, oh, did I overstep? Did you go back and read it again? Like, oh, let me reread this one. What did I write?
No, I mean, I thought it was funny. I also have the email to my parents where I tell them what's happened. And I say, maybe next time I'll try Marry Me, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, you did set the bar low. Yeah, sure.
It turns out I have this power.
Right?
How am I going to use this power?
That's really impressive.
Yeah, so we did the interview. That was the first time we ever talked. And we sort of stayed in touch and stayed friends for a couple of years. And then 2014, we started dating. And a couple of years later,
you can't just slide it. Okay, well, hold on. You didn't just have some things. There were some emails that just went back and forth, and you were friends for a while, and then you started dating. What was the moment? What is your meet cute moment?
I'm sorry, it was proposing in a blog post headline in response to a viral video and not enough of a meet cute for you?
Listen, that's good for the end of Act 1. We got to get us to the end of Act 2 and then have the big, the wedding at the end, the wedding scene at the end where which Hugh will you choose? Hugh Grant or Hugh Jackman walked you down?
That's true.
You walk you down the aisle, for God's sake.
So many Hughs. Okay. It's a wide choose situation with the Hughs.
Well, what happens where he asks you out? You ask him out. When is the spark that you go, oh, there might be something here?
He was doing an internship in the Obama White House in the summer of 2014, and I was going to DC for work. And we'd been talking about some work stuff, some writing stuff that he had been working on. And I said, like, let's get together next time I'm in DC or next time you're in New York. So we saw each other, and I was like, oh yeah, he actually is really cute. And his taste in ties appears to have improved, so.
Clearly he felt the same about you.
I will say that we'd spent a couple of years sort of building like a friendly professional relationship. Like I had edited some of his writing. Like we just corresponded in a way that was not obviously leading to romance. And I think that's a really helpful way to establish a relationship. Like you get to establish communication and respect and get to actually know someone without like the fog of would they want to date me swirling around, in part because we were dating other people.
And how long did you date before the proposal?
We got together in 2014. We got engaged in 2019.
Oh, a while. Okay, yeah. And the proposal itself, because my niece just got proposed to, but she's, it's different than it is. It's different than us kids when we used to do it back in the day. She went out with her boyfriend and picked out the ring first with him. Because he was like, that's what they decided to do. I guess maybe that's one way to do it. And then he said, I'll just, surprise you when it's going to happen. Did you know it was coming? Was it a surprise or was there a little bit of a plan to it?
There was a lot of a plan to it. We both, on a trip to New York, we went to my grandmother's house and asked her for one of her rings to be my engagement ring. And then like had to get it, sized and and fixed up and everything. So we both knew exactly what the ring was going to look like. And then we like opened a time window because I feel very strongly that like the person that you decide to marry, and I think this is especially true for hetero women, the person that you decide to marry, it's probably the single biggest professional choice you will ever make. And that's not something you want to be like shocked by. You want to have a lot of conversations. You know, before someone is getting down on one knee and putting a ring on your finger, you want to have a lot of conversations about like about values, about finances, about children, about what kind of house do we want to live in, about what kind of relationship do we want to have with each other's parents and families. Like I'm down with surprise, but shock is not something I ever wanted to be feeling when I was getting engaged. And so we sort of opened a time window of like, we will get engaged at some point during this window. Zach wanted to propose to me. He wanted to like do a thing. And so that is what we decided. It's not quite how it went. The window had been open a while and I was getting pretty frustrated by the not knowing of it all. And so one day we just decided to put getting engaged on our shared Google Calendar. We ordered from our favorite pizza place and I went and bought a bottle of champagne and Zach came home and the calendar event started and he got down on one knee in our kitchen and proposed to me.
I kind of love it because I gotta say, no, let me say this. First of all, y'all knew each other a really long time. And that's a really important thing. I also love the fact that it just feels very comfortable to you. And that's to me like the most important thing. I've been with my husband for 18 years. And when people always ask me, it's like, what's your secret? I'm like, well, the secret is, first of all, we're comfortable with each other. Two is, my thing is, the person you can show your ugly side to and not be scared to show that. And that could be whatever, right? Your frustrated side, your sad side, your crying, your ridiculous side.
The side of you that needs to have important life events scheduled on a shared Google Calendar.
There's another one. Or the understanding that that's something that you guys both have, is that it just sometimes has to be scheduled that way. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I was working off the model that I had from my parents, which is that they had been together a few years, they went out to dinner one night, and they decided to get married. And this is how you know it's the mid 70s. And then they met their friends for a Woody Allen double feature. And told their friends, like, hey, we're getting married. And like that to me was always very appealing because, you know, you want to enter a marriage as equals. And like I said, like this is a huge decision that you're making. And I didn't want it to be sprung on me. I wanted to be an equal participant in the single or second most consequential decision I'll ever make in my life.
Please tell me one of the two movies that your parents saw in the double feature was Annie Hall.
It was 1975, so I'm not sure.
It might be a little bit later. We're probably a little bit later than that.
Maybe okay. Bananas? I'm not sure.
I was about to say Bananas.
Yeah.
But it's a little early for Hannah and her sisters.
I got to say, I really admired the first half of that evening. The part where I have to sit through two Woody Allen movies, not appealing to me.
A lot has changed. You know what I mean? It's like in the world is like, you know, we lived in a different time before, you know, before Woody did some very questionable things.
Before we knew about Woody doing some very questionable things.
I was going to say it. That's right. 100%. 100%. Okay, let's move on to this. You are a multi-published author of fiction and nonfiction. Take us through that journey.
Yeah. So my first book is actually nonfiction. It came out in 2021. And it grew out of reporting that I did when I was at HuffPost about the world of classical ballet. I was a dancer growing up and really enjoyed doing dance journalism. And Turning Point, the full title is Turning Point, How a New Generation of Dancers is Saving Ballet from Itself. And it's about how difficult it is to be a dancer unless you are the exact ideal of a dancer. And even when you are the exact ideal of a dancer, and how ballet is really sort of really hindered its own survival by focusing on a really, really narrow ideal and really outdated ideas of sort of hierarchy and suffering as a form of virtue and success. So that was the first book that I wrote. And at the time, when we were, I was writing it while we were all locked in our houses during the pandemic. And I had already been a pretty regular romance reader for a couple of years by that point. But during like the height of the pandemic, I pretty much, like a lot of people, started exclusively reading romance novels because they're so comforting and so satisfying. And we all needed that during those pandemic days. And I started thinking, I wonder if I could write a romance novel. And when I started wondering, okay, if I were to write a romance novel, where, like, in what world would I set it? Like, am I writing about like wizards, fairies, wolf shifters? And then I was like, how about the ballet world? The world I have spent the last 2 years completely immersed in. I wasn't that creative about where to set this romance novel. But writing the first book in that series, which is called Parted Don't, really it became a way for me to tell some stories and explore some ideas that I had not been able to explore through nonfiction. And more than that, I found that I really loved writing romance. Like, I loved doing it. I'd never published a piece of fiction in my life, but I was like, let's just write a draft, see what happens, see if I can see it through to the end of a draft. And I did. And sent it to my agent with a note of like, hey, left turn, I'm going to go from like in-depth feminist journalism to romance, steamy romance. And she was able to sell it, and it was published in 2023, and it's now a 3-book series.
There's something magical about you in that you see it and you go for it. Is that something you've always been, or did you become that person?
Oh, I have to think about that. I think for most of my life, I have had a, well, why not kind of attitude. And like, there may be legitimate reasons why not, but like, okay, but why not? Like, let's just imagine, like, if we really wanted to make this happen, what would we have to do? And does that sound possible? And could we just try? And it hasn't always worked out. But when it does, it feels really good. I'm proud of those romance novels. I do remember one of my friends who is also a nonfiction writer, when I told her I was working on the romance, and her response was, wait, you can do that? Like, you can just do that? You can just write fiction if you want? And I was like, well, yeah, I don't think there's like a body or a panel that you have to get past to give you permission to do it. I think you can just do it.
You can. I mean, I think that's the thing in life, and we talk about that on the show all the time, is like, you can wake up in the morning and just decide, I'm going to have the best day I'm ever having in my entire life. Or you can get up in the morning going, this is going to be the worst day of my entire life. But it really is a perspective choice that you can make. You can just do that shift at any point.
Yeah. I mean, I think asking like, why not, is helpful because, again, like, there might be legitimate, like, structural systemic reasons why not. There might be sort of personal internal reasons why not. But having the attitude of like thinking, okay, if that's something that you really wanted, what would you have to do to make it happen? And does that sound like something you would be willing to devote the time, the energy, and the commitment to?
Our good guest, Chloe Angyal, has so much more to share. And yes, I could have crammed this all into one super duper long episode, but pace yourself, people. Next week, we continue our good talk with Chloe about everything from positive manifestation to how her husband Zach is presently running for a U.S. Senate seat for Iowa, to what the title of their own rom-com just might be. It's gonna be a good one. I can't wait for you to hear part 2. Until then, be good.